Hello and welcome back to the hottest show around senior year. My name is Samantha Holinsky, and you may be wondering what happened to Brad, but I can assure you he is all right. While it may be unfortunate that Brad is not here, we have a great show for you lined up. We'll be hearing from our director himself, who will be playing the guitar. I can't wait to interview Brian. The other spotlight will feature a pre-recorded interview with Dr. Belito, our weekly check-in with Taha, and to close it all, words of wisdom from Jonathan's Garden. Before we get to the rest of our show, let's start off with the news this week. In the news this week, a local theater in Cranford will be reopening November 8th, this upcoming Friday. The Sayeth family owns the property this theater is on. No stranger to owning a theater property, Jesse Sayeth has 3 of them. The historic theater has been completely renovated on the inside, while still maintaining the 5 screens it originally had. The location of the theater is 25 North Avenue West in the local town of Cranford. On to the next story, which we will like to start by wishing well to anyone affected to the tornado that hit this past Sunday. No injuries or death were reported in the latest strike. Some homes lost power and lots of fallen trees, but it seems to just give everyone just a scare. If New Jersey gets one more tornado, it will tie record with 9. And our final news story comes from the president, making history. This past weekend, the president, for the first time in history, attended a UFC live event, specifically in New York City. It was only 3 years ago that the UFC was not allowed in New York. A longtime advocate for the UFC and his friendship with Dana White made for all the right circumstances, as the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden, saw another night full of history. That is the news for this week, and now a message.
Baby, you see, I cannot set you free. My lonely days are gone. That's why I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna let you go. No, no, never gonna let you go.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let you go. Never gonna let
In this part of the show, we are going to sit down with today's director and guitarist, Brian Acevedo. So, Brian, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm really good.
Now, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is your first take at directing, so how would you say it's going?
I think it's honestly going really well.
That's great. So, what can you say has grabbed your attention in this whole process?
I think the fact that it's a whole teamwork, but the responsibility all falls within the director. So it is a bit nerve-wracking, but through the final product, I will probably be really proud of my work that I see.
Finally, what's your ultimate goal and what are you looking to accomplish in the future?
So I would like to work with juvenile delinquents because I'm a psych major, and I would like to have education programs in the detention centers, and hopefully they can be able to as well do extracurricular activities.
Well, thank you for your time, Brian. It was a pleasure talking to you, and good luck in the future. Here are some messages before we hear from Dr. Bolito.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a unique mix of all kinds of things. There it is. Keep going with it. Leo! They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
So I'm Dr. Christopher Bolito of the Kean University History Department. I'm a professor of history here. As an undergrad, I studied journalism and politics and classics and religion at NYU. And then I went on to grad school after teaching high school, and I got an MA and a PhD in medieval history from Fordham University in the Bronx. Most of my things that I teach here at Kean are ancient and medieval history. My own research field is medieval church history, and because of that, I end up doing a lot of stuff with modern popes as well. So I was very interested not just in studying the history for the history's own sake, but in looking at how history is used, abused, misused in modern day political discourse. And so my hope is that by studying history, people say history repeats itself. That's not true, because history is contingent on particular places and times and geographies. Nevertheless, there are perhaps cycles or episodes in history. Human nature doesn't change. And so I am, like the ancient historians, interested in the lessons we can learn from history. Whether we can apply them or not, that's up to us. My favorite course, I think, is my Crusades course. I don't want to say that I don't enjoy the other courses, because I do, but the Crusades course is the one that's the most challenging for me, and I think the most challenging for my students, because Crusades is a loaded word. It's used in modern day conversation. We have a crusade against opioid abuse. We have a crusade against obesity. And it's a word that's often used in American political discourse, but in Europe as well. To talk about modern day refugees, it gets tangled with white supremacy, it gets tangled with violence. And so in the Crusades course, I'm really not afraid to rip the Band-Aid off and to talk about every single aspect of it, including violence, including religion and violence. The hardest to teach is one that I haven't taught in a while, but I plan on teaching it in the next year or two again, and that's the history of just war. That was developed through a grant that I got about 10 years ago through the National Endowment for the Humanities, and it had to be a project with a question mark at the end. And this was, is there such a thing as a just war? Can we use violence, which is a bad thing, to achieve a good thing without compromising our souls? And it's a difficult topic because we're dealing with violence, but it's also a difficult topic because it's really moving fast. The field is moving very quickly, and so keeping up with it is a little bit difficult. If you want to be a history professor, the job market is not very good. Nevertheless, I think knowing history is more important than at any other time, at least in the half century that I've been alive. You study history not necessarily to be an historian. You study history to get perspective and to get really good skills. So you could be a brain surgeon with a history major. You can be an investment banker with a history major. Because what you're doing is you're looking at multiple sources, multiple pools of evidence, making judgments about that, and then learning skills to write and to speak, to convince people why your interpretation and your judgment is accurate and others are inaccurate. So these skills are going to serve you very well. I think history is critically important because we use the past to form an identity. Who I am as a human being, who we are as a state, what we are as a nation, who we are as some other group of people to which you identify. And so when you're talking about identity and talking about history, you have to be very careful, because you could just pick the little bits and pieces that you like and leave out the little bits and pieces that you don't like. And that would be like teaching the history of the United States without mentioning slavery because it makes us uncomfortable. Well, that's a history, but it's not the full history. It's not the complete history. Ancient history, we can distance from ourselves a little bit more because it's different, right? So I teach ancient Greece and Rome, but ancient history is also Sumeria, ancient Japan, ancient China, Egypt, Mesoamerica. And it's because Greco-Roman history was a polytheistic society, a many-god society where religion and government were really closely tied. I think it's a little bit easier to maintain some distance and to look at it objectively. No way.
Yo, hello KTV and welcome back to Tahoe on the Street.
Hey, we stop out of here! That's fun. That's perfectly fun. That's perfectly fun.
Here we are at the basketball courts. It's been a while since I've been here, but one thing you guys might not know about me is that they call me the Packy LeBron James. Look, watch this. It's really cold today, but anyways, it's kind of hectic. Let's do the magic trick. 3, 2, 1.
No magic this week. We're doing an interview this week.
My magic.
No magic this
Who are
week.
you?
I'm Nick.
Why are you gripping so hard, bro? Damn.
Handshake.
What's your? How old are you?
I'm 18.
18? Damn. Where are you from?
Montgomery, New Jersey.
That was Montgomery. All right. I have a couple questions written down here. It's Taha's 5 random questions. I got to pull it out. Damn. Just hating had to hit me so hard. What type of feather beginning with the letter Q did people write during the Middle Ages?
Is it a quill?
Yeah. How did you know that? I didn't even know that. Anyways, Julius Caesar was the emperor of what Roman Empire?
I don't remember.
Guess. You got that right.
What was it? Julius Caesar of
Yeah.
the Roman Empire?
Yeah, you got it. What is Rosa? Yeah. Shut up. What is Rosa Parks most famous for?
Saying her Montgomery boycott, saying no.
Stop getting them all right. You're making me look dumb. The first fireworks were invented in the 7th century in what country?
China.
Damn, bro. Name the American president on the $1 coin who was assassinated in 1963.
John F. Kennedy.
I'm about to, bro. Stop getting them all right, bro. That hurt. All right, get out of here. Get out of here. I'm done with you. Go. Get out of here. Let me go get that ball. Man. Watch this. Nah, he got me mad now. Watch this, bro. Nah. You gonna try to play me? Watch this. I think I got a concussion. I usually make those. We'll see you next week, bro.
Growing up where I did, a lot of things could have gotten in the way of my goals, but I learned to push through, and that's what I bring to work every day.
Hello again. Before we send you over to Jonathan's garden, I would like to thank all our talent today and everyone involved in today's episode. I've been your host for today, Samantha Holinsky, and now it's time to hear from our Zen master, Jonathan.
Make your life a masterpiece. Imagine no limitations on what you can be, have, or do. Be healthy, be well. See you next week. Bye.